Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back for another Walking Dead video. I just had to do another one. I've been kind of thinking about this one and how to really go into it and to talk about what I think is going on in Negan's head, all while he is coming back into his old habits and just coming back into this leadership position and dealing with this whole new set of saviors, basically the saviors 2.0 as I've been referring them to. But before we get into all of that, if you enjoy videos like this, you enjoy Walking Dead content, please leave a like, leave a comment, of course, consider subscribing, I'd really appreciate it. But anyways, let's jump into the topic of this video, and that is Negan and his state of mind for what's going on around him, and especially as we get into where is he at emotionally and mentally when he is presented the new Lucille, because I firmly believe this is going to be a gift that's given to him by Croat. I firmly believe that's how it's going to play out. I don't think he's going to take the time to make this himself, just based on everything that happened with the original Lucille, him losing it in the All Out War arc, and then him finding it years later, digging it up in that field, and then when he attempts to take up that mantle again, more or less, it breaks on him, and he has this kind of ceremony where he says goodbye to the bats, but he's really saying goodbye to Lucille, letting her memory go on, letting her memory go to rest, and just having this kind of cathartic kind of moment where he has these things that he wants to say to her. He wants to apologize for everything that he did, who he became, just who he was when she was still alive before the world went to shit, and just letting her memory lay to rest and apologizing, of course, for naming a bat after her and trying to act like there was some big meaning behind it, but it was just him not being able to move on. And now we're going into Dead City Season 2 next year, unfortunately, but he's going to get a new Lucille. And that was the main focal point there that we got in the teaser that we got from San Diego Comic-Con, where he has this new Lucille, and he's being thrust back into this position of power and leadership. And he's kind of turning on that showboaty kind of part of his personality that was so charismatic about him being Negan in the first place and being leaders of the Saviors, and just everything that's going to, I think, come along with that as far as emotional baggage and the psychological toll. I think everything that has happened since has taken on him. And what I really wanted to get into, of course, is Lucille. How is he going to handle having a new Lucille when it's more than likely going to be presented to him, as I mentioned? And I really think he's going to have a moment where, of course, we see him in the trailer, and he's dragging it along. He's doing the whistle. He's kind of falling back into that old persona. And I think he's trying to enjoy it. I think he wants to enjoy it for the sake of putting on the show, being in this position again. And then I think there's a moment where it kind of all hits him, where he realizes this is not who he is anymore. And I really think that moment kind of slaps him in the face, for lack of a better word, or for lack of a better way to express it, is when we see in the teaser him and Maggie facing off, and we can clearly see that he has this Lucille, and I think it's going to bring up a just giant storm of emotions between him and Maggie, because they have since tried to put things to bed, or she has on her end, trying to forgive him, trying to move on, but she has made it clear to him in the past that she will never forgive him for who he was and what he did. And I really think in this moment we're going to see them kind of clash, and he's going to see her and see the look on her face and just be like, oh shit, what am I doing? Why am I falling back into this? But of course we do see him in the teaser out in the world using it again, because again, he's going to be thrust in this position of power. He's going to be probably more or less have to go out there, claim new territory, unite the gangs, because we do know we're getting Kim Coates in a part of a gang leader by the name of Bruegel. And he's probably going to have to put on quite the show for this guy, and to get him to see his way of doing things, get him to fall in line more or less. And I really think after they have this moment, after they have this meeting, and we're more than likely going to see kind of a look of terror and disgust on Maggie's face when they have this meeting and he's got Lucille. And I really think it leads up to another moment within the trailer, and this could also be right after he has this meeting where he's brought into this, I think it's a church where they flip on the spotlights and he puts on his show and does his thing, where we see him come back into, I believe is probably still his cell, because they probably don't 100% trust him and don't want to give him free roaming privileges or whatnot. But we see him coming in back into his cell, and he throws the Lucille. He probably is pretty, I want to say, kind of disgusted with having this new Lucille, and once again kind of desecrating the memory of his ex-wife, who he did treat poorly at the end of their marriage. But after the world went to shit and they had to scavenge for radiation or chemotherapy supplies, and she ultimately died because he was not able to get it back to her, and just creating who he had to be in order to survive, and just he was driven to be this kind of guy, and he was pushed to be this kind of guy. And I really think with all of this coming back to the front of his mind and being put in this position of being on this pedestal again, where he is going to have a moment where he realizes this is not who he is anymore, and he's going to have maybe kind of a breakdown from it, and that's why we see him throw it. And this could also be, like I mentioned, after he has kind of this face-to-face with Maggie, and she sees him like this again, and she probably rubs his face in it a little bit. It's like, I knew you wouldn't change, and I knew you would still be this guy if you wanted to be, and you were just completely full of shit the entire time before. So I'm very excited to see how it all plays out, how we're going to see how Negan reacts to this, how he reacts to being presented this new Lucille, and how he is going to play it off like this is who he is. He's this guy again. He's out there swinging this bat at whoever. More than likely, I don't think he'll go back to the old ways of doing lineups and whatnot, because I just don't think he'll want to be that person. But then again, there's always that possibility that he doesn't have a choice, because he could be very well the prisoner in this whole situation, because we've seen him grow. We've seen him become a different person and show remorse for the things that he did. But there's still always that flicker there, I think, in the back of his mind, where he will do it if he has to, and he will be that person again. But that's just a video I wanted to do here lately when I wanted to talk about that. If you guys have anything you want to say, please leave your comments below about what you think, where his mind could be, or is he going to go full Negan again and go back into doing lineups and just being a fucking heartless prick, for lack of a better word. But anyways, guys, if you followed along with that and you enjoyed it, you enjoy Walking Dead content like this, please leave a like, leave a comment, of course, subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it, and I will see you next time. So take care. Bye.